Welcome to the Lessons of Lorecraft introductory series. Before getting into the first chapter, I feel it important to first state a small disclaimer. I'm no expert in the lore behind the Warcraft series. I'm not a developer or in any way involved with the creation or upkeep of the franchise. I am, however, a fan of the lore, and knowing the lore can greatly increase the satisfaction of completing a quest or putting down a boss. Hopefully this series can give you, the player, that little bit of insight that you need to help you along. That being said, there is a lot of lore, which means there's probably going to be a lot of videos. I'll try to keep them relatively short and easy to digest. My sources for these videos is a compilation of in-game and online material and some books. I'll try to include a citation here and there, but the lore behind the Warcraft series can be vast and conflicting. There are several games, RPGs, there's some novels, and there's even a feature film. Given the reasons I stated earlier, I'm going to try to stick to the information as it pertains to the World of Warcraft MMO games. Oh, and one last thing. I'm going to make mistakes. It happens. I'm not perfect. Leave comments and I'll try to put the corrections in the overlay. So with that being said, let's jump right into the first chapter, the Warcraft universe. As I'm sure you've realized by now, the Warcraft universe is very different from our own. There's magic in it for a start. There are races, forms of life, forms of magic, etc. In this chapter, we're going to try to look at the basic rules of the universe, how it was created, and how it exists. We'll start with the light. Before time and space sprung into being, there was only the light. The light existed as a vast sea of living energy filled with joy and hope, spreading itself through the infinite dimensions of the cosmos. As time, or what closely resembled time, went on, the light began to spread so far and wide that it began to thin and dilute. Eventually, small pockets within the light began to emerge. These pockets of desolate void began to take on a life of their own. They exhibited an opposing nature to the light. Where the light embodied hope and joy, the void embodied deceit and hate. The borders between light and dark grew chaotic and destructive. As the void grew, it consumed the light until the conflict reached a critical mass, exploding with such power that it cleaved the cosmos into two separate yet intertwined planes of existence: the material plane and the twisting nether. The material plane is the dimension most akin to our own. It has planets, life forms, and even outer space, which is referred to as the Great Dark Beyond. Since the Great Dark Beyond composes most of the physical realm, it's often referred to by that name. It is also often referred to simply as reality. The conflict between light and void continued within the material plane for untold ages, during which time elements would coalesce, forming what we know today as planets, moons, and star systems. Energies would be shed from the struggle into the Great Dark, where they would eventually find and merge with planets, creating the spark of life. Eventually the conflict would subside and leave behind a vast realm of living worlds. Pockets of light and void continue to exist within the realm. The material plane is definitely very ordered. It has structure, it has physical laws. The twisting nether, on the other hand, is kind of lawless. The light and the void themselves merge into a chaotic nightmare at the outer edges of this realm. The rest of the realm continues to exist in an unending turmoil. Within the twisting nether, there are few, if any, physical laws. There is no space, as we understand it. Time itself seems to be a non-linear and chaotic mess. It is this lack of physical space which allows for pockets of the material realm to be pulled into the twisting nether. There are more planes of existence than just these two. However, these two are the most important to be familiar with going into the game. We will eventually talk about the others as well. There are 4 cosmic forces that permeate the various planes of existence and bind them together. Most of these forces have 2 opposing aspects. These opposing sides exist in a delicate balance. One cannot exist without the other. They can be tapped into, they can be studied and channeled in the form of magic. Each side of these forces results in a different type of magic, opposing each other as do the aspects from which they are derived. The first cosmic force is that of light and shadow. As mentioned earlier, it was the formation of this duality that birthed both the physical realm as well as the twisting nether. It also seeded various new life forms within the physical realm. Some of those life forms are highly infused with the power of the light, others with the void. Others still have a balance of both and may align with either. The second cosmic force is that of life and death. This force exists within both the physical realm and the twisting nether. The rules that govern how these forces work differ between the realms, however. How they differ is not completely understood. The third cosmic force is that of order and disorder. The physical plane, more strongly infused with order, and the twisting nether, more strongly infused with disorder. As time would go on, the living creatures from either plane of existence learned to tap into these forces, and they began to channel them into various forms of magic. The cosmic forces of order gave rise to arcane magic, disorder gave rise to fell magic, light to holy magic, void to shadow magic, life to natural magic, and death to necromantic magic. The difficulty of accessing each form of magic varies depending on the plane of existence. For instance, fell magic is easily accessed from the twisting nether due to the chaotic nature of it, while arcane is most easily accessed from the material plane due to its ordered nature. Natural magic is most easily accessed from worlds where life has blossomed, and holy magic from a being of virtue, and so on. Finally, the last of the cosmic forces are the elements. Unlike the other cosmic forces, the elements are the basic building blocks of the physical world. There are 6 known aspects of the elements: fire, wind, water, earth, spirit, and decay. Now that we know the basics of the Warcraft universe, we can continue on to Chapter 2, where we'll talk about the early life forms to arise in it.